Hey third graders, Mr. Bell here. All right, let's get started on your next project, and that is going to be the winter tree. All right, so I want you to think about the following things, and of course that is some kind of tree in the foreground, and some snowy hills in the middle ground and in the background. So you've got your foreground, got your middle ground, and then your background. Notice the tree off in the distance is in the background is smaller. The one in the middle ground a little bit bigger, and this tree that's really close to us up in the foreground, of course, is going to be very big because it's right next to us. And notice the swirls in the sky. That'll give your picture some action and movement. So make sure you add that. And you can add icicles to your tree if you want to. And that's your choice. So let's go over these terms here. Winter landscape. Of course, it's winter time. Outside picture of the land. Got your foreground, your middle ground, and your background. Add some swirls to your sky for some movement and action. Make it look windy. And of course, it's winter time, so we're going to be using cold colors. And there you go. Your tree can be brown or gray, whichever one you decide to use. Okay, I like to use gray. I think it looks a little colder than brown. And gray, of course, is a neutral color. So think about that. This paper was done by a student who moved away and wasn't able to pass their artwork back to them. That's why I have this one. So I want you to see the work from another third grader. And I think this person did a really fantastic job on this picture. It's very interesting looking. It really captures your interest. I really like it a lot. And they really got the cold colors down well and made a really nice tree with some icicles and captured the foreground and the middle ground and the background. All right. So yours might look a little different than his did, and that's fine. As long as you have all the elements I talked about in there, that's all that really matters. And I'm going to make one, and mine's going to look different than his too. And your tree can be over to the side, to the left side, or to the right side, or right there in the sort of in the middle. The middle's really here. He offset his just a left a little bit, and that's fine. What kind of branches you put on and how many you put on, that's up to you. Maybe you don't want branches. Maybe you just want to have tree trunk with no branches. It's your choice too. I like to add branches because I want to add some icicles to mine. So here I go. I'm going to put mine over to the side, so you're only going to see maybe from the middle of it outward. And I'm going to do it this way so you can see another way to do it. Remember, it's a tree. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Kind of looks a little more interesting if it isn't. And I like to do this part first. And then I add my branches afterwards. And I like to make them a little thicker here and make them get a little narrower. There's not going to be any leaves on this tree because it's wintertime, so don't forget. And how you do your branches, that is really a personal choice. I think I'll add one in here. And I'm going to erase this little part. I think I'll add a branch up here too. Draw it in pencil first to make sure you have everything looking the way you want it to look. And we can imagine there's more branches and the tree goes up higher. So this is just the part that showed up. I kind of don't like this part here, so I'm going to erase it. I want it to be a little shorter than this one, so that's why I'm erasing that part. There we go. I like that better. All right. Now, if you want to put a bird, a cardinal, or a blue jay on there, that's fine if you want to, or a squirrel. You can add wildlife to this picture if you want to, but you don't have to. And I'm going to put some little curvy lines in here to give this some texture. Make it look a little more interesting. Now we're not going to see the bottom of the tree. We can imagine it's way down lower than this. All right. I also want to just sort of narrow this up as it's going up too. Okay, now I'm going to add, so the tree's in the foreground, so I'm going to add the middle ground. And again, you know, if you want to add a house back here or something, you can do that too if you want to, or a cabin. Your choice. And back here, I'm going to have the background. Background is my middle ground, and the tree's in the foreground. All right, so in the middle ground, I'm going to put a very lightly, and I'll make it a little darker so you can see, but I'd make yours a little lighter. Put a tree back here, the kind of trees that, you know, like evergreen trees that survive in the winter. And I like to make the straight lines first, and then you know, for a guideline, then I'm going to add these parts afterwards. I always like to turn mine sideways when I do this. Makes it easier. Now I can come in here and erase the guidelines. And if you just want to make yours triangles without these parts added to the side, that's fine too. You can make the trees however you want. You don't even have to do these kind of trees. You could make more winter trees like this back here if you want to. So, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. A little snowbank there. And back here I'm going to, and if you're really good at this, you can just go ahead and draw them like this if you want to. And I've got one off in the distance. Of course, it's in the background, so I'm making it smaller. I think I'm also going to add a winter tree back here. Branches, no leaves on them. It's the middle of the winter. There we go. Way off in the distance. And I'm going to bring this down a little lower because I want it to look a little bit closer than that. There we go. Now it's time for some swirls. So I'm going to decide where I want to put them. And there's different ways to make swirls. Everyone's got their own way they like to make them. There we go. Add another little part there. Add some lines in here. Make it look windy. Jump over to the other side. This will create more foreground and background action. There we go. And anything else you might want to add to it. You decide. Mountain in the background. Maybe I'll have a little mountain off in the distance. That's the other kind of stuff that you can add to your picture if you want to. If it looks too plain. Alright, so you know, this picture here that this student did was all done with crayon and paint. And you might not have paint. I hope you do, but if you don't, this same picture can be done all in marker and crayon, or just in crayon, or just in marker. So it's your choice. Whatever materials you have, that's what you want to use. And if you don't have any of that, just do it all in pencil. Okay, you can do little shading and stuff. So, but I'm going to do this one right here in crayon and paint. So what I'm going to do next is get the colors I need and start coloring. Find a gray. You could also use a black if you want to trace your tree with black. Oh, there it is. So those are choices. And I have a gray here somewhere. So I'm going to start coloring with that. There we go. Okay. So here we go. We'll start tracing with the gray and whoopsie, push too hard. Notice the paper is really thin on these crayons these days, and the crayons just break so easily. I do believe the paper used to be a little thicker once upon a time. Alright, so I'm going to keep tracing this tree and get all my outlines. Then I'm going to get some green and do my trees, and I'll do this gray and my mountain some gray and trace the outlines of the snow and the swirls, and I keep on working on that. Alright, and put some little lines inside this tree. I'm leaving parts of it white so it looks a little snowier like I did there. Oops, I missed a line on my swirl. Okay, I think I have all the crayon parts done, and now I'm ready to paint. So I'll get my paintbrush and some water and start painting the tree. I want to make it gray, so I'm gonna get some black and put it in the lid here and add a bunch of water to gray it out, and then I can start painting gray. If you don't have paints, then you just color it lightly with a gray crayon, or if you're using brown. And I'm just going to keep painting this. It's okay that some parts are a little darker and some parts are lighter, and that's the nature of watercolor. Alright, I'll zoom in so you can take a look at it. Alright, so I'm going to continue painting what needs to be painted. And wherever snow is, well, that's going to stay white. So I noticed while I was painting my tree and my mountain that I forgot to add my icicles to my tree. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few on there. Make it look a little more dramatic. Here we go. Might add some little ones back here to this one. Alright, so I'm going to continue painting on to my next color. I'm going to get some blue and some purple and paint the sky in with some cold colors and really make it look dramatic. Alright, I think I'm finished. Paintbrush away. There you go. Alright, I just left the snow parts white. There's my icicles. Left those white. And that is an example of what you can do. Put my tree over to the side. I wanted to make this one look different than this student one, and I think the student one really looks really awesome. And you know, how much stuff you want to put in there and how many swirls and all that is up to you. I decided to go with kind of a value scale difference from a darker to medium to light to really super light purple for the background and the sky. And this student mixed up the blue and the purple. That's fine too. Either way is fine, and how much white you want to leave on there is up to you. Okay? Alright. Y'all have a good time with your winter landscapes. Can't wait to see yours when you're finished. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.